What is up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to the 120th episode, Collecting Profit, a little different one. This new yearly thing that the three of us started of doing, a Wrestlemania preview show. So let's see. I guess we could say what this would technically be
second annual
season. Yeah, but it would be for Collecting Profit. It would be season 3, episode 16 or something along those lines. Crazy. But so this is a second annual.
That's a fitting season number for WrestleMania.
That is true. Season 3, episode 16. Yeah. So how you guys doing?
Good, brother.
Anthony, how's everything going?
Oh man, Pittsburgh Mania is running wild over here, brother.
El Grande Pittsburgh over there.
All right, John, your turn. Rip it off, brother. No, things are going good, man. I'm glad to be here. Love being here.
Good. Wedding getting all set?
Oh man, it's driving us crazy. But good news is by the end of next month it'll be over. So there is that. But yeah, I mean, it's been crazy, especially since we're planning 2 and 1 is like remote, so just trying to keep all that in check and, still do everything else we do in our daily lives is kind of wild. But yeah, everything's going well, I should say. Yeah.
Good. Big John, what's happening with you, man? How's everything going with you?
It's going good, man. Just working, trying to get more cards. Just signed up for my first card show in June.
Really?
So, yeah.
Where?
In Connecticut here, there's a new show opening, so I figured I'd get in and get a table for the start, see how it goes.
Very nice. That's really pretty cool.
Knocking out these yearly, hobby goals. That's what I try to do.
That's awesome, man.
But I'm excited for WrestleMania week.
Yeah. I mean, man, there is so much going on this week, just in sports as a whole. I mean, last night, we'll just touch on it. Like last night, we started with the NBA with the play-in tournament. They played tonight. They play yesterday. They play tonight. They play Friday. I think the hockey playoffs are getting ready to start. Baseball's going on. People are getting ready. Talking about the whole football draft.
Backstage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there he is. Sorry, I didn't see him. Look at this.
I show up and you don't even put me in.
Put him in, coach.
I'm on the laptop, so the screen is small, so I didn't see you. You were on the bottom. Sorry.
Well, it's all good. What's up, fellas?
What's up?
How are you doing?
Same shit.
So, yeah. A lot of stuff going on, man. So, John, Beast, how you doing? How's everything going with you?
Going good.
Good.
I see you're on the road.
Good. I'm glad everybody's doing well. So, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get started. So, just so everybody knows, what we're going to – are we just going to give our thoughts, chat? Go ahead and, give us your thoughts also. You don't have to go ahead and
up a whole list of predictions. Come on now.
Oh, man, there you go. Chat, you don't have to go ahead and keep quiet. Go ahead and, throw stuff at us. We'll gladly go ahead and, and answer any questions or anything that might be on, that we need to talk about. But with that, again, this is not going to be in the order that I, for the matches and stuff. This is just, how we are going to, talk about them and stuff. We the only thing we know so far, unless I am mistaken, is we really only know the closing matches of both nights. Not 100% sure yet. I guess the full card, the order of the cards haven't been released, but we're going to just jump right into it. The CEO is working. He said, depending on what time he gets home, he will jump on. But with all that being said, we said, man, it's WrestleMania weekend. Don't forget, if you're a wrestling fan and if you have the opportunity, you have NXT Stand and Deliver as at 1:00 East Coast time, also on Saturday. So you could do that, take a break, get something to eat, relax, hang out with the family for a little bit, and then boom, 7:00, the show starts. I believe they're starting the pre-show at 6:00, so you can come, hang out, and watch a whole full weekend of wrestling. Should be great. And then we have Easter Sunday also, so big freaking weekend. A lot of great things happening. But with that being said, so what do we know so far about it? We know night one we're going to get El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. We got Jade against Naomi. We got the World Tag Team Champions for the men, United States Champions, Women's Championship, the Heavyweight Championship, and we have the Triple Threat. Before we talk about the matches individually, you guys got any comments about, you think this is a good night one, or bad? What do you guys think just overall? Again, we'll talk about the matches, just the card as a whole. Anthony?
I think they have a couple matches on each night that kind of really make you want to tune in. Most notably they have a big singles match, and then also women's championship match on each night, which I think are going to really get people tuned in.
Big John?
I mean, I agree. I think how they set the card up is going to see how it really flows in. But you can really start the, with either United States Championship match or Heavyweight Championship match, that's going to start the knife out real strong. You're going to see the Fatu, the Uso. But I mean, War Raiders, New Day, don't overly care about that match that much, or Tiffany Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting. We'll figure it out. Firestarter, what do you got?
I kind of agree with the guys. I mean, it's going to depend on who they start. I can almost see them starting out with the like you have it there, the Rey Mysterio match first, or the Tag Team Championship first, because they don't seem to be as big of a draw as the other matches do. But I take it as an first night, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Hey Kenneth, how you doing? I'm the same way about it. I think the one thing, unless I have missed missed some stuff, which I don't really think I have, unless there's some Easter eggs that I don't really know about. Honestly, I think there are some matches here that I don't think deserve, that are not WrestleMania worthy. I don't think there's a lot of storylines, in these and stuff. It seems like a bunch of them were just put together. But, that's just my opinion, from that standpoint. But we will go ahead and, we'll talk about that as we go on. So the first one we'll talk about is Rey Mysterio against El Grande Americano. Going to be interesting to see what they do. Right off the bat, I will tell you right now, and I think like Lawkin said here, this is a TV match. This is a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown match. This really does not deserve in my opinion, a WrestleMania match. What are you going to do? Are you going to rip the mask off of El Grande and expose him now and kind of end this whole thing that quick? So I don't know about it. I think El Grande is going to win. I think it makes sense for him to go ahead and win. Maybe there's going to be some kind of run-in by the Creed brothers, and the rest of the LWO. Big John?
Man, I got El Grande winning it. I think that makes the most logical sense going forward. And if you're gonna run this the next pay per view or two pay per views out for a mass versus mass match, so but I see that. See Chad Gable winning.
No.
I'm sorry, El Grande.
El Grande. Come on, man. El Grande. Anthony?
I gotta go for a grande Americano. I just think the momentum and stuff, just like you were saying, I don't think the story's over yet. It would be kind of premature for it to end. I mean, it would be kind of cool to see him get unmasked at WrestleMania. It'd be kind of a cool WrestleMania moment for him. But I don't think they're done with the storyline yet. But also, like you were saying, it's probably not worthy of a Mania match.
Firestarter?
I agree. However, I am playing devil advocate here. The way WWE writes storylines and ends them as quick as they do, I'm going to take Mysterio winning it, but not, or maybe possibly I'm asking him, but I don't think that's going to happen. And this way he'll have a one win over El Grande, take it to the next pay-per-view, and I think it was Anthony said that do the mask for mask type match down the road. And that might be Ray's final match type deal.
Yeah. So,
but not a WrestleMania match.
Yeah, Dom makes a point. It could be an overall really good match and everything. That's true. What do you think? Any chance that someone other than, I hate to call him his real name, Chad Gable, is underneath the mask, and the mask comes off, and it's a reveal that it's not him?
No.
I can't say it. The only way they could possibly do it would be have Kurt Angle be underneath that mask, but that's about it. And you would tell by the body that it wasn't Chad.
Yeah, he would have had to have had this unknown twin brother that has basically the same exact physique as him to go ahead and pull it off.
Yeah.
It's not like they haven't run that storyline before.
Dom says it's
over. That's true.
Dom says it's
over.
over.
You just hit the worm real quick.
Yeah, so
Elijah?
Yeah, Elijah. Yeah, right. Yeah, they don't want to go back to that storyline. But I think we're all in agreement. The truth of the matter is, no matter what, really, this is hard to go ahead and really see how this one is a WrestleMania worthy match. Yeah, it could have someone from under the ring with the same mask on. Yep. There's a lot of things they could do. Maybe this is truly, hopefully this is the middle of the storyline. But again, what is it? It's a guy who went away, came back, put a mask on, saying he's a great luchador. Then you unmask him, and then and then what? That's something that gets me. It's like, then what? So this is one of those ones where to me the storyline is
This would probably be a good match for the Monday night after Raw, or this past Monday night would have been good for that.
Yeah, I agree. And then we have the Jade Cargill Naomi match. Anthony, what do you think?
I think this one's going to Jade, only because I think that this will be a good opportunity for her to get a big win on a big stage against a bigger opponent, and to help push her, because I feel like she really hasn't, since she's come over from AEW, she really hasn't gotten the full rub that I feel like she's going to get. So I feel like this could just be like a way to kind of launch her towards like the next thing.
I agree. Firestarter?
I agree that this is definitely Jade's going to win, and something tells me this is going to be a squash match for some reason. It's going to be a real quick one.
Big John?
I think Jade wins this as well. She needs to win more than Naomi does. I don't think it's a clean win. Something happens, somebody interferes. I just don't think it's a clean, straight win for Jade, but she should win.
Yeah, so I don't, man. See, this is a tough one for me because I thought the same way, but then I was thinking, man, do you kill this new type of Naomi character that you're going with if you have her lose? Do you have Naomi win by cheating and from some way, shape, or form, um, you know, rather than have it just a straight match, a clean match per se. That's the thing that am curious about. You know, I would think you could get interference. Like, does Bianca come down? I know she's on Sunday night, so they really would be, obviously I don't, most people would think, well, there's no need for her to be there because she wrestles on Sunday, so should be resting Saturday night. But you know, does Bianca come down at some point in time when they're just beating the crap out of each other to try and I can't believe this, I can't believe it. Do they add a twist in that really the mastermind behind this really was Bianca to set up something more? I don't know. I think to me, I think Naomi gets the win in this one because of this new direction, of her character. From that standpoint, I think she winds up getting the W. So we'll see. Who knows? But again, also, I think this is not a WrestleMania match either. I think this is I think this is again a night after or something else and everything. Yeah, I mean it should have been. The only thing I can think of is that it caught maybe when you think about what John said, if this is a squash match with Jade just destroying her and something along those lines, and then Bianca gets involved somehow. I think eventually you got to get Bianca and Jade. I think people want that more than Jade and Naomi, in my opinion.
The only reason why I don't think Bianca will be involved is because of the night one match. If it was night two and she'd already had her match, I could see her getting involved.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I could see something like that, but who knows? We'll see. We will see and everything. But again, I think when you look at it, this is a match that really, didn't necessarily need to be, on, at a WrestleMania. And then we go with the tag team championship, the War Raiders against the New Day. Firestarter, Johnny, what do you think?
I'm going with the Roar Raiders, but I feel somehow Big E is going to interfere to give them that, interference win. But the storyline they've been having with Big E, I have a feeling something's going to happen there.
So you're saying Big E helps the War Raiders win?
If nothing else, he comes out to distract New Day, and they get it, and War Raiders get the pin somehow. He might not get involved in the match directly, but I just see something happening there.
Yeah. Big John?
New Day. All day. I think New Day wins. Kind of solidifies this heel turn. Gives them, that satisfaction of being back on top. You need a good heel team in the tag team division on Raw. So I'm going to go with New Day.
Master Man?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go against my want. I'd love to see the New Day win this one, but I think they're going to actually put over the War Raiders because I think with them having such what seems to be dominant reign right now, putting over going over on one of the best tag teams of all time on the grandest stage of them all would be like a pretty good accomplishment as far as establishing them as a legitimate tag team. You know what I mean? Like, because back in the day, they used to have these like force of tag teams, and like nowadays, it's like the New Day, the Usos, and everybody else, in my opinion. So, like, I feel like they need to establish some more talent because like the New Day's getting older. The Usos are, in singles competition and stuff like that. So I think it's a good opportunity for them to put another team over and maybe build them up a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on this as I can see it. There are reasons for both teams to win. I thought the same type of thing. Big E somehow, getting involved to screw the New Day after what they did to him, from that standpoint. But then, it's like, man, I mean, I think the truth of the matter is the tag team division, whether it be on SmackDown or on Raw, it's just not good right now. So like it almost doesn't matter who's the champs. I mean, the best one really, is the Street Profits, and you don't even have them on the freaking show. You have them on the Friday night SmackDown. Like that. To me, I don't understand the planning of the way some of this goes. I mean, everybody's going to think about it and say, well, the War Raiders, tag team run so far has been underwhelming. Yeah, it has, but they haven't had anybody to go against. So I'm leaning more towards, as was said, that Big E comes down and does something. If Big E does not get involved, then I think they're going to have the New Day win. I think the War Raiders can come back and get them at a later, maybe SummerSlam or something like that. But I think they go ahead and like Big John said, complete the heel turn by having them, go ahead and have the belts. I think that, I think that is something that works. From that standpoint, but not a bad match. Then I think we start to get into some of the exciting stuff. So
the show still.
Yeah, we got LA Knight, yeah, against Jacob the Samoan Werewolf Fatu. Big John.
Okay, so first of all, this is probably going to be the night one show stealer, right? I think they're going to put on a hell of a match. It's a good story. And I got Fatu winning. I think there's just something for the story with Solo that his winning his first title at WrestleMania is going to spin that story into motion, into high gear. We see them to go at it at SummerSlam or in Saudi Arabia over the summer.
I like it.
Plus, I mean, who else on SmackDown has more momentum than Jacob Fatu?
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think this one's going to be a tough one. It could really go either way, just because they have pushed LA Knight so much. And with Jacob Fatu being, a newcomer, I think just having the WrestleMania moment, it is big enough. But then again, if they really want to push him, the way the Samoan dynasty has been pushed, in the past several years, this would be a great opportunity to, actually put the belt on him and push him properly, straight from WrestleMania. So that being said, I'm going to go with Big John on this one and, Jacob Fatu.
Firestarter? Johnny, with us?
I think he's frozen.
I think it
looks frozen.
Mm-hmm.
He's in such awe of this one. He's in deep thought.
He is.
Well, he goes ahead and gets back. I agree. I think, this is the beginning of a new storyline. Fatu going ahead and winning. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I really never understood the massive push that LA Knight has gotten. I mean, I understand, the crowd and everything like that, but I mean, old Eli Drake here, he, I mean, to me, he just doesn't do anything. Again, I understand the whole crowd thing. I get that and everything, but there's no like. I think Jacob winning creates a storyline within. I mean, what are we calling them? Are they the bloodline? I mean, like what are the three of them called?
They're calling nothing right now.
Yeah, so I think that develops a storyline there, the beginning of it, to your point, the jealousy, to where we get a Solo against, Fatu Jacob, at SummerSlam, which in reality, when you look at it, man, Jacob is so superior to him in the ring, it's not funny. From that standpoint. So, but I think Jacob, I think that's the, I really think, when you look at it, there's a potential of, another belt going ahead and changing hands on this night. I think the New Day could win, and then I think, Jacob could win. So I think it's going to be interesting. And then we get into the WWE. Yeah, what they can't have Knight do actually keep him down. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they can do. I mean, the Fatu thing goes, and then from there he then if we just go back to continue with that one, even if it's not a feud with Solo right away, he still has the stuff with Braun Strowman.
Yep.
He still has that feud too. So it opens, him winning opens up a lot of stuff.
You can move LA Knight into the main event scene.
You can.
Maybe get a match with Cena. So
yeah, I mean there's definitely there's definitely all that. Here he comes. He's coming back potentially.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Your thoughts on LA Knight against Jacob Fatu?
You mean Elias's brother? I'm going to say that's who he was before this. So I'm giving it to Fatu. Just with the whole, before I got kicked off, the whole Samoan stuff and this thing with Solo. He's going to be able to kind of shove it in Solo's face and, hey, I got this before you got a title.
Yeah, like I said, it opens up. It opens up something. I'm still wondering if they're ever going to do anything else with the with the whole bloodline thing and everything.
Yeah, because you lost you lost one of them, didn't we? To injury that he's been out for a while.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be coming back. Tamaloa. Yeah. So we'll see. But he's going to have to do a couple of things like, get some of his, get some of his points on the right way.
Yeah. And not to the useless match.
Yeah. And then, Walker, I think they said June he would be back. So, Tiffy Stratton, Charlotte Flair, the Women's WWE Championship. Anthony, what do you think?
So I hate to pick against the nature girl here, woo! But I'm gonna have to go with your buddy Dom in the chat here and agree that it's Tiffy time. I think they're going to try to solidify her as a top heel, and this is a good opportunity against literally one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. Like, whether people think she still is at the top of her game or not, she's literally done more than just about any woman. So I think this is like a staple match for her to like really go over as a top heel.
Firestarter?
I agree with Anthony. And this might be like one of Charlotte's last few matches because I don't see her wrestling much longer. the way she's talking and after getting married and all that crap. So something just tells me she's not going to be, maybe another year or two.
Yeah, Big John.
And I think it's Tiffany Stratton's time. She's been on one epic run with just partners. You know, what she learned from Trish, you know, going against Charlotte and really Charlotte sandbagging her and have to learn how to stick up for yourself on the fly. So I'm interested in this one. I also wish these graphics was actual cards, but
Yeah, they would be cool.
I'm sure they're out there somewhere, something similar.
Yeah. I agree with Larkin here. My thing about this one is if those comments when they went off the rails against each other the other night of Tiffy saying, hey, you know, Charlotte outside the ring, you're 0-3, 3 divorces. You know, she just got divorced from Andrade. And then, you know, Charlotte saying something that she probably just was the first thing she could think of at the top of her head, you know, about Kaiser being in her DMs and stuff. I know that I got to believe the thought process of having Charlotte go ahead and win the Rumble was to have her go against Tiffy and to have her push or, Tiffy, give her, pass the, I want to say pass the torch. I don't know, where Charlotte stands and wanting to continue wrestle, but to put over Tiffy. But the funny thing is that would be a very big change for Charlotte because I don't think she's ever put over any wrestler that she has wrestled with. So this would be a massive change for her. I wonder if there's going to be any receipts for that comment, about that Tiffy made and everything. But I think, to me, I think you have to have Tiffy win. They could come back and wrestle again, maybe at SummerSlam or sometime again. But to me, it makes no sense to pull the belt off of Tiffy right now and give it to Charlotte. Especially after Charlotte just coming back from injury and stuff like that. I just don't see it. It wouldn't make sense to me. And again, though, this is another one of those things where there really was no storyline. It was, but I guess when you're looking at the Royal Rumble winner, it's not really, you're not really going to have time to develop a storyline because it's only, a month later. So I kind of get that part, but I think, like I said, I think it'll be Tiffy, and then we'll see what happens, after that. Or maybe Charlotte attacks her afterwards. I can't see like Charlotte, no matter how good the match is, I can't see, Charlotte standing in the middle of the ring, and kind of acknowledging Tiffy by grabbing her hand and raising it. I just don't see that. So,
or if she does it and then kicks her, does something to her.
Yeah, you can't say that about her win. She kind of just shows up and boom, comes out. I mean, she's a 14-time champion, so she's only 2 away from Pops and Cena.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about all-time champions. Then we have this match here: Jey Uso, Gunther, Mr. Firestarter, what do you think?
He's going to win this one. They're going to put the belt on. How long he keeps it is a different story, but he's definitely they're going to put the belt on him. But the way they've been pushing him.
Man. Big John?
Yeet. This is, he's winning, and the amount of roads that they can take this from a storyline perspective, you got being with the final balls, you have Roman being jealous, you have going against Gunther again, KO, Priest. They can book him a really nice, detailed 6-month, 8-month, year out title reign, especially if he's still selling merch, and they can turn him as well. So this got twists and turns, and has the most possibility for anything unexpected to happen.
Yeah. Anthony? Go ahead, John. Good, Firestar.
One of the other things that could possibly happen, and I know supposedly Jimmy is injured, but I saw pictures that he's not. But anyway, there's a possibility maybe he gets involved and helps Jay out. I don't know. It's the storylines WWE runs. Just never know.
Yeah, true. Anthony?
Yeet. I'm going to go ahead and go with Jay in this case as well. I think he's going to complete the underdog story, win the title, and go on and, just have, some interesting storylines come out of this with him as a champion. And, I don't know how long it'll last, just like the other guys said, but I do think that he'll overtake the championship here.
The thing with this is, right, if you thinking of booking afterwards, Jay wins his story. Now Gunther, the ring general, is 0-2 in WrestleMania. 2 years in a row, he's lost his title to somebody he didn't think was undeserving. So you can really tweak his story, how he goes about what does a loss do for him and his mindset. The fans are behind Jay 100%. So him winning just makes you more money. He's box office. But also, you still can play off last year when Jimmy told Jay, I'm always going to be the thorn in your side and when it comes to you winning a championship. And he could cost him a championship. This long-time story booking they've been doing, a lot of us forgot about that moment when he was in Roman and he cost him the title.
Yeah, so
I disagree, Larkin.
Yeah, I don't know if the fans are. I think I don't know for sure. I think I think it has. I think maybe a little bit of the shine has come off to go ahead and put the shine. So number one, I think this is night one opening match.
It should be.
I think this is how they start the show. I think that because I think they are going to put the belt on Jay. And to me, you don't put these guys on first if you're going to have Jay lose, because that loses the crowd right from the beginning. So if this is the opening match, I think you're looking at Jay going ahead and becoming the champ. Now, this is definitely a time when someone has become the champ. In reality, truthfully, because of the crowd.
Yeah.
Because when you look at Jay Uso, I don't know how you could look at him and go, yeah, that's the guy who should be leading, be one of the leading men of the WWE. I'm not saying he's not good. He has the crowd for sure. I think that's, I think that, and that's great. It's amazing. The pop is unbelievable, in the arenas and everything. I think with some people, I mean, I know you don't agree and everything, and I agree a little bit with Locke, and I think there are some people who are like, man, what the hell are we doing here? We're cheering for this guy, and all he does is lose. So that's why I think, to kind of keep that momentum going, he pretty much, has to go ahead and has to win. Again, does he deserve it? In my opinion, no. But the crowd, the universe, a lot of the WWE universe wants to see him win. The storylines coming out of it, there are many of them that can be had. I also don't think people are going, well, you could have him suffer the loss, and it's not his time yet. And, then he can come back next WrestleMania and win. And I was thinking, oh, you mean just like we did in WrestleMania 39 and 40? Cody comes in to finish the story and loses, and then a year later he goes ahead and wins. I'm like, you already played that one out.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to try and do that again.
Right. I agree with you that if they put it as the first match, Jay definitely wins. Because if you don't, it takes the crowd out of that first night of WrestleMania. If they put him somewhere in the mid area, there is a chance Gunther wins it then.
See, I view it as any performer knows that if you can't be the main event of WrestleMania, you want to be the opening act. You want to be number one. So, regardless of the outcome to finish, who's had a better year and a half than Jay? Nobody. Who's had a better year and a half on Raw than Gunther? Nobody. Right? They've had some of the best. Regardless of what you think the storyline is, Jay ain't lost a step in the ring. He can go. He just doesn't have to now. And from the off standpoint, I go with who's going to make me money and sell tickets. Gunther's a great heel. The problem is Gunther's not a heel that moves the needle financially. Nobody wants to. He's not buying merch. People are not buying merch of Gunther. Like they did with Stone Cold was a heel. When Rock was a heel. He's not that charismatic as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think from a merch standpoint, what can you do with it, right? Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Austin 316, DTA, the skull, and all the other kind of stuff, everything like that, right? The Rock, all the things you could do, his face with the elbow, with the with the eyebrow up, and so on and so forth. I mean, Gunther comes out in a freaking basically a freaking trench coat and puts his hands behind his back and everything, right? So I mean,
not even more. He just got like regular clothes now.
I mean, I hate to say it's like he's vanilla at Baskin and Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what he is, man. He's just like there's no flair to him. There's nothing. There's not a lot to him. And stuff. So,
and here's another thing. If Gunther loses, does he congratulate Jay and maybe they possibly turn him face? I can't see that happening, but stranger things have happened in WWE.
Mm-hmm. As far as the title goes, you want to call it a secondary title, but who has Gunther beat that made you excited that he was facing him? Besides when he faced Jay, wasn't really excited to see him go against Sammy. He hasn't gone against, his Priest match was another good match he had with Priest, but that was interference. He hasn't fought Finn Balor. He hasn't fought Drew McIntyre.
Braun Breaker.
Well, I think
Braun Breaker. So,
well, but I mean, but I think that's just it. I mean, I think the in this age of wrestling, where you're looking at guys like Breaker, you're looking at Penta, you're looking at Cody, you're looking at the way these guys with the crowd. Even when you look at Drew's a heel, Gunther's a heel. When go back as far as you want, even when he was Walter, when he was in NXT UK, he was just there's no flair about him. There's no excitement about him. He just comes out and he just wrestles. Like it's amazing. It's like how does that guy fit in this day and age?
He just has a loud ass chop.
Yeah. Xavier, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. We're all doing great. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, I think with Jay and everything, it'll be interesting to see what kind of storylines, again, you have when Jay wins to your points, like what's, I mean, you've had Gunther, he had that great IC run. He's had a good run here. He loses, to your point, then what? Like, what's next? So who knows? I don't know. I think one of the things that is happening overall is is they want to advance storylines, but sometimes I don't know how they're looking at both guys in the storyline, right? Like I think you see how they're trying to advance Jay in the storyline, but then it's like you turn over here and you're like, well, what about the other? So I'm not 100% sure. Technical issues. So, and then we know the match that is going to be the main event. This is the only thing we know for sure of night number 1. The main event, the triple threat, Seth freaking Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. Paul Heyman in tow with Punk. Anthony, what are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, so man, this is a real interesting one. This can go in a number of different directions. But before I even get into the match, does anyone else think it's like almost disrespectful that the championship isn't the main event? Like that's just like something like right off the rip.
Yeah.
Like it's always like, man, how do you degrade the title to where it's not even the main event? You know what I mean? Like I get like making it the first to like jumpstart the show hot, but man, I'm still a big fan. Big Show needs to have the title last, But this will be an awesome match too. But my guess is going Seth freaking Rollins on this one. And I do think there'll probably be some kind of interaction with Paul Heyman getting involved in the match as well. But I just my gut tells me Seth freaking Rollins is going to pull one out here.
All right, I want to follow that up. Who does he pin?
Roman.
I don't know. I mean, I would probably say Punk. I mean, just because I feel like him and Roman have done it time and time again. So I feel like it would probably there'd be more of a storyline there between him and Punk, in my opinion, just because him and Roman have done it over and over and over and over, So, like, if they were going to continue beyond this match, I think it might be a little bit more exciting to see, him go with Punk.
Big John?
So I say Paul Heyman walks out with the winner, Seth Rollins. And the reason why I say that is because it doesn't need to be with Punk. They've done that. It's going to be a turning point in Roman's character, right? Everybody has turned on him in history, and this Paul Heyman is the next person to turn on him. And while he will say he would never be a face again, I think this is the moment to tweak his character some, and then later in the year, get him back in the title scene. Give him some things to overcome. But CM Punk finally he's never beat Seth Rollins one-on-one clean.
Right.
So Seth's been the tweener for the past 2 years, really. He gets behind him, he goes heel. Now you got more for the title scene of Raw as well. So
John?
That promo that Seth gave on Monday night made me believe that he was going to win.
I can't disagree there. John?
I'm in agreement with the guys. It's going to be Seth. And, yeah, now Paul's going to come out with CM Punk, yeah, but that favor that Rollins asked for, I think he's going to interfere somewhere. And I do, some reason I see him getting the pin on Roman because of the whole Shield thing that they've been using that chair shot with.
Mhm.
He did it to Roman in WrestleMania 4. Roman did it to him in WrestleMania 40. He comes back and does it to him in the one Monday Night Raw, I think it was, or SmackDown, I can't remember, but something's going on there with that whole Shield thing that they're bringing back up again. So I don't know if maybe they turn Roman face at some point, like John was saying, and Seth goes, the other way, heel turn, but because I can't see him bringing the Shield back together because you don't have the third guy, unless something we don't know about with John Moxley, but I don't know. There's something with that whole chair shot thing that makes me think he's going to pin Roman.
My thought process, right, John, is that if Seth wins, he's heel, and you have it on Monday. You have him saying that Paul Heyman is making a choice. It's not really a favorite; it's a choice. And we know Paul Heyman historically is untrustworthy.
Right.
He's been by the side of Roman Reigns until CM Punk came back. So the twist would be to leave out with Rollins.
Right.
That would be and then if you can't, because I don't think we're ever going to get Rock Roman at a WrestleMania. What's better than at some point Seth pinning Jay for the belt, and next WrestleMania you get Seth Roman 1-on-1. Right? If we just book this long term, what's WrestleMania 42's main event? What's going to sell tickets? Roman, because we know he's going to be in the main event, versus Seth.
Yeah.
Get Seth
Cool to see, but it ain't gonna happen.
Rumble. Roman wins the Royal Rumble and goes against Seth.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, to me, I'm still struggling with. I think Seth is going to win. I think it's set up. I think Paul Heyman. He definitely turns on Roman from a standpoint of, as you think of the way Roman went ahead and treated him on Monday. It's like I think that there. So I think somehow Heyman goes ahead and betrays both Punk and Roman, and he does team up with Seth Rollins. Part of me thinks the bigger thing that could happen out of this is the three words that Seth said, and if you remember, they were said by somebody else after a PLE. Best for business. Does The Rock go ahead and come out and get involved? And is The Rock, is this turning into a massive storyline to where The Rock has two champions underneath him if Cena could go ahead and beat Cody? But I think something along those lines. I think when you look at it, Punk, he was at that time in his wrestling career when he joined up with Heyman, and Heyman helped push him over. Roman was the exact same way. As much as we want to say Rollins has been around, has done a lot and everything like that, he still really has never gotten he's like been at the top, but he's never gotten to the pinnacle. And I think you put a Heyman with him, and that helps him get to that that next level.
He's always been number two.
Yeah.
Even when he was a guy, and he's Triple H's guy with the authority, he was still to Roman.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, to me, I just I just don't know who he pins. I just don't get. And here's the thing: I don't think it can be. I know some people are saying he pins Roman. I don't know if they do that. It's kind of the same thing. I mean, then Roman has gotten pinned the last 2 WrestleManias. From that standpoint.
The way I can see it
I don't know.
Is CM Punk gives him the go to sleep. Rollins was outside the ring, jumps back in, curb stomps Punk, and then pins Roman that way. That's one of the possible ways. If they make Roman go face, do they keep him the OTC or do they change his name to something else? Because everybody knows the OTC.
He's gonna be considered the OTC. I don't know how you can just make that fade away. I mean, that's everywhere in the crowd and everything like that. I just can't see that piece. What's interesting about this match is, you have 3 guys who the crowd really goes crazy for.
Yeah, but when he loses, he would be a chief without a tribe.
But he's a chief without a tribe right now anyway.
Exactly. There's no bloodline anymore.
But he is, but he hasn't. Again, he hasn't suffered, right? He hasn't. There's nothing he's done to really change him face and to change his character and his attitude. Even though he doesn't have a tribe, he's not acting like that. He doesn't feel vulnerable. Even in War Games, he didn't seem vulnerable. The pettiness with the Shield breakup and how that has a hold on him, if Seth pins him and he's forced to look in the mirror, there's very good TV can come out of that.
Yeah.
That's how I was thinking, just the way they've been playing the whole chair shot thing with those 2.
Yeah. You see, he came out talking about last year and saying he'll do it again. Like, the hatred between the 2 of them is powerful. And if we can get them one-on-one at a Mania next year somehow, amazing. We know Seth Rollins puts on great matches at Mania.
Oh yeah, as long as they both remain healthy and they play it right, it'll be interesting to see, the storyline, goes. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a banger to end, night 1. I mean, it's really going to be crazy for night 1. I mean, 7 matches on night 1, and then we get to go to sleep, relax. Maybe check and see if you got any jelly beans in your slippers because, the Easter Bunny is going to be coming in the morning. You go on your egg hunt because it's going to be Easter Sunday. We're going to praise that he has risen. He's come back. A new day is coming. Maybe a new day is supposed to win because the next day is a new rising coming up, from that standpoint, coming back and everything. So, but then we get into, night 2, and I mean, again, to be honest with you, I threw the first one up there just because I don't know, just something makes me believe they're going to figure out a way to get Randy involved. I don't know if they are, but I just threw that up there. Technically, there's only 6 matches in night 2. There's 7 in night 1, 6 in night 2. When you look at this type of thing, again, I have some issues with a couple of the matches, but we will go ahead and we will see, and we will get into it. Anthony, your overall thoughts of night 2 before we of just what the card.
It's already been confirmed who Randy Orton's mystery opponent's going to be.
Oh yeah,
the debut of Cordell Stewart. That's my.
I thought you were going to put yourself in that match, but
I'm too broken down for that. So
I thought he said,
naming Cordell Stewart as my replacement.
I thought Tony Hansen was coming back.
Man, Tony Hansen couldn't handle Randy Orton right now, but Cordell Stewart, man, Slash could do a thing or two to that man.
Overall, any thoughts on night 2 before we break down the matches?
Same really as night one. There's a few matches that like really get me excited that I think are going to be really drawing people to come back, that people are going to want to see. And I think there's going to be a few matches that might actually steal the show as well. As far as the women's title match, I think that could be one that, could be a really good one. Even AJ Styles and Logan Paul, that's like one that doesn't seem like could be as great, but both of them guys are like incredible in the ring. So I think just athleticism wise, that could be, one of those low key matches to keep an eye out for. And then just to really see what happens with Braun Breaker, and what they're going to do with him, coming into WrestleMania would be kind of interesting too. So, what do you other guys think?
I think the problem with this WrestleMania is that we were teased things that we never got, that we didn't get. Where we were teased Alexa versus Liv. We were teased AJ versus Brock, and we're not getting AJ versus Braun. We're not getting them.
Yeah.
But if you take the WrestleMania out of the title and look at the cards, pretty solid cards for PLE.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the better of the day too. Like Anthony said, AJ versus Logan is going to be a banger. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre is going to be a banger. I still think we get Randy versus Kevin Owens, but I don't think we get a match. We get a run-in segment fight. I don't think we get a match, if that makes sense. Something in the veins of the Kevin Owens Stone Cold match main event for a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Bayley and Lyra. For the simple fact is, I hate the way they booked the women's tag team division. I hate it.
Yeah, the only match here I don't like is the AJ Logan, because I just don't like either of them. But that's besides the point. But like Anthony said, I think it'd be an interesting match.
You don't like AJ?
Nah. I think they're going to open the show with the Women's World Championship match, though.
Meh. If they're gonna have a championship match open the first one, night one, you might as well have a championship match open up night two. I am, this is another one of those. I mean, I think I don't really see I don't see this one overall much better. Again, you look at this, there are two matches. The Styles Paul, there was really no build up for that. The women's tag team, there's no build up for that one. Priest and Drew, I mean, you could have that fight. I mean, that's okay. You could do a Hell in a Cell on another PLE for one of that one. I don't really see this one. I mean, look, it should be good overall, but I mean, it's the storytelling I'm not sure of.
This is a very mediocre WrestleMania.
Yeah. So I threw this one. I agree. Well, and I plan on talking about that. So I threw this one in there about, Randy. Is there a potential for him to do something? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much of a work the Kevin Owens stuff is, or how true it is. I don't know. I don't even know who you could say. To me, the one name that pops up for me that you could have if you really wanted to push someone, but I don't think it would be because he's kind of part of a tag team right now, would be Carmelo Hayes. If you wanted to say, hey, Randy, we want you to push somebody over, would be maybe somebody like that. I don't know who else from the men's in a single competitor that you could potentially throw out there with him. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Anthony, any thoughts on yes, no, maybe so? Is it not? Could it happen? Could it not happen?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle with the Randy Orton thing. I could see, just like you said, him wanting to put somebody young over on the way out, which would make sense. If they do that, I don't think it's going to be that large of a segment of the show. I think it'll be a quicker match, probably like 5 to 10 minutes, just it's solid, obviously, because Randy Orton's a good worker, but I don't think it'll be anything huge. I mean, if anything, it could even be some kind of a promo role on the show as well. You know what I mean? Like they've done with past wrestlers in the past, is doing some kind of a promo. Like they've had like Miz do his interview segment or stuff like that. So that's a possibility as well if they decide to go that route.
Big John?
I still think it's gonna be Kevin Owens. Right, and I don't think it's gonna be an official match. I think that would be, like Anthony said, a promo segment fight. Randy Orton will put over people, but because he's so good in the ring, putting over somebody for Randy Orton doesn't mean you actually have to beat Randy Orton. You just have to have a really good match, like Javon Evans did in NXT. So
True.
I don't think you got Carmelo Hayes with The Miz right now. I don't think there's much from a roster standpoint to surprise put him against. So you just do the run in with Kevin Owens, and that's the match. And that's his match. That's the moment. Because I actually think it's Randy Orton who's not healthy enough to have the match that they want to have. He may need more time.
True.
I'm interested to see if you get backstage segments leading up to the main event with him, with Cody, and him with John Cena.
True.
So I think that's the appointment. That's the opponent coming out of Mania, is Randy Orton somehow getting involved with the winner of that.
That's an interesting take there. Interesting take, John.
I mean, I know we don't have the Miz there, but if they were able to have him there and do like a Miz TV segment with Randy, coming out and talking to Randy about the whole issue with Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens attacks him, that would be a good way of doing things. But I agree with Big John. It's definitely, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Kevin Owens. Whether it's like a official match or it's something that they start to build add on to the storyline and have it for the next pay-per-view or PLE, whatever you want to call them. But something like that. But I don't know of anybody that he could actually put over right now, unless they bring in that other Samoan guy that they've been talking about. I can't think of his name, but one of the brothers or cousin. Yeah. But I think that'd be too soon to put him over.
Yeah, it would. I don't know. I mean, I really have I had no idea when I put this on there. I was like, I'm not sure. I don't know how they can go about it. I just don't know. I've gotten no feel, and from some of the other, wrestling fans that I talk to, nobody has really heard that this is a work. More people think that it is actually true with KO. So, so I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see.
Or does he get in the general manager of SmackDown?
Nick Aldis? Yeah, that's what Dom just said. Could he go ahead and get something with Aldis for the way he did? I mean, people don't forget Aldis was NWA champion. He's held the 10 pounds of gold. So, so anything's possible to get, I don't know. Again, I don't know why, like even Adam Pearce was a past champion and other ones. I don't know why, maybe Aldis had some kind of injury. Maybe he's worked back now and maybe he was out because of injury, wasn't able to wrestle. And now he's gotten cleared. Who knows? I think it's going to be
or bring back Ted DiBiase's son.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that one's going to go ahead and happen. But Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Big John?
Priest. That's what I got. I only have analysis on this. I want Priest to win.
John?
I got Priest as well.
Anthony?
Bring out the brooms. Here. Priest as well. Clean sweep.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Yeah,
going to pick Drew.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really think it matters who wins. I
And
don't
the
really,
cards.
because I don't like. I mean, what do? They have another match then at at Backlash. They have another match then at some. I mean, something like it just this doesn't do anything. I don't understand what this does. Is this to really try and make Priest a face? Because does Drew go to a different thing? I mean, this could easily be one of those ones where they battle outside the ring and it's like a double count out type thing. And they're fighting in the crowd. I mean, to me, this one, I don't know. Again, it's this it is it a PLE match? Sure. To me, maybe if this is building to a Hell in a Cell type thing, okay, maybe kind of sort of, but this really doesn't move the needle for me at all. And I think you're going to see this is going to be, like the third match or the fourth match when everybody's going to need to go ahead and take a break, because I don't think it's even going to be an exciting match, from that standpoint. You're going to be two guys just trying to.
The whole Drew and CM Punk deal. They just match after match after match after match after match. I mean, it's just gets tiring.
Yeah, it is.
I don't understand.
Oh, okay. So they can't be. That's true. It is. That's right. It's a Sin City street fight. So there are no qualifications. There's no nothing. So there has to be a winner.
I don't understand why they dropped the Bloodline Hunter gimmick from Drew for this.
The what?
The Bloodline Hunter, because that's where he was going before Royal Rumble. I don't know why they dropped that for this, but I need him to lose and pick that back up.
Yeah.
So Fatu winning the United States Championship, he loses this and just goes back, try to get his redemption arc through that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't know. Well, John, you don't care about this one that much, so we might as well go with you first.
If I had to pick one, it'd be AJ because I can't stand Logan Paul. He's a good wrestler, don't get me wrong, but he needs more time. They can't just be putting him over on every match that he's been in just about.
Yeah. Anthony?
I mean, I have to go with Logan Paul just because of those colors he's wearing right there. But I just think he's younger. I think that he is more popular. I think for that reason, it gives them more of a reason to want to push him. Although AJ is the veteran, he's the far more established wrestler. It would make sense for him to humble Logan on the grandest stage of them all. But for some reason, I have a feeling Logan's going to somehow cheat to get the win.
The brass knucks.
CEOs.
Hey, John?
The brass
I want
knuckles.
AJ to win.
You want AJ to win?
I want AJ to win, yeah. He needs a win. He doesn't have momentum. He needs a good win.
I just can't believe in that they would pick AJ Styles to basically do a job for Logan Paul. I think in my opinion, when you look at AJ Styles' career and what he has done through all the different wrestling companies that he has worked for, to be a guy that comes to a Wrestlemania and loses to Logan Paul, I have a hard time with that. I don't like that. I think that, to me, that's, in my opinion, that's disrespectful.
Now, he has talked about retiring. So maybe this could be, if he loses, he retires. I don't know.
I look at it this way, like they had the Big Show, who is considered kind of like modern day Andre to most people that grew up with the Big Show. They just had a sumo wrestler go over on him, like a popular sumo wrestler. You know what I mean? So I think WWE will put over popular people. You know what I mean? Even if it is like a superstar person, you know what I mean? Like an AJ Styles who could theoretically be competing for a world championship. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just have seen them, you know, like bring in celebrities, and all of a sudden the celebrities go over on, you know, legitimate talent.
I mean, this
Not
could
quite to the David Arquette extent that WCW went to, but there's plenty of WrestleMania moments you can think of where, you know, a celebrity or a more famous type person gets elevated over somebody who's definitely a better wrestler / athlete.
Lawrence Taylor beat Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yep.
I mean, I can see this with them both
Came to hell of a drug.
them both being high flyers. I could see this being something that just leads into a deeper storyline down the road, possibly if Logan wins or AJ wins. Just they keep it going for a couple more PLEs.
Yeah, like I said, I you know, to me, if you're gonna keep it going, I don't know. Like I said, I you know, I'm not a fan of Logan Paul. You know, maybe but I'm more of old school. That's why I don't like the crap that they push with Charlotte Flair of go away for 18 months, come back, boom, championship. I don't like what they've done with Logan Paul. Of putting him in those high profile matches, right away. And I'm not saying he's not good in the ring. He is. When you look at the stuff he does and everything, I have no issue with that standpoint. But to me, it's there are guys that are just as good as him who have not had any kind of push whatsoever. And I understand the popularity is the big thing of bringing together that YouTube influencer community with WWE together. I get it. It doesn't mean I have to like it.
Plus, he brought his drink in to support him.
Yeah. And plus, he's another one of those guys who outside of the ring, he's not the nicest guy in the world. But then to me, we go to another one of those matches that doesn't make a shit ton of sense. It's the women's tag team. It's Liv. It's Raquel. It's a put together tag team of, Lyra and Bailey and Big John. I think you might have a lot to say, so I'm going to hold on to you. I'm going to go to John first again to go ahead and give his thoughts. Then we'll go to Anthony, and then we'll hit you.
Okay.
I don't know if John will like it, but I am going to take Bailey and Lyra, because it just seems that's the way they're trying to mold this team for some reason, but that's how I see it rolling. And then maybe a breakup between Liv and Raquel, because whoever gets pinned is going to be the loser. So I don't know. That's how I'm seeing this one roll out. It's not going to be I don't think it's going to be a very long match, but 15 minute, 20 minute, maybe.
Yeah. Anthony?
I'm going the other way. I think Liv and Raquel retain and kind of have like a little stronghold on the division for a little bit, just because they don't do anything with the titles anyway. So I think they're going to at least let Liv have a little bit of a push with it.
Makes sense. Big John.
So Liv and Raquel win this, right? They need to have a title match and hold the titles and establish some legitimate tag teams. Bailey and Lyra winning. Why have Lyra as a double champ? I don't see a reason for her to be a double champ when she hasn't really defended the newly minted title that she just won. So I think this, her and Bailey miscommunication, Raquel and Liv win, and then you see them two in a program afterwards. But when you have Candice and Nia, you have you have Chelsea Green, her Secret Service girls. You have Katana Chance and her partner. You have 3 to 4 legitimate tag teams. Like, where is Shayna and Zoe? You have legitimate tag teams that you could have built up, and we could have got Bailey versus Roxanne at Mania, which they were leading up to. Lyra could have had a somebody to go against in the pre-show. It's the same as Chelsea Green's not on the show. Why is Chelsea Green not on the show? Who's probably had top 5 year, and in WWE from a women's standpoint, besides Liv, Bianca, Rhea, Tiffany, Chelsea Green. They've had the best year. Why is she not on the show? The way they booked the women's division, I would rather have Chelsea Green on the show and take Priest and Drew McIntyre on.
Yeah, so I think the reason why I think Liv and Raquel are going to win. I think the reason why they win is because I think the WWE looks at Liv and thinks that, and I think when Liv has a belt, things are good. And I think just right now with the triple threat feud that we have coming up that we'll talk about, I don't think she fits in that right now. So to keep her as a champion, to keep a belt on her, they go ahead and they do that. I don't know, a heel turn for Bailey again, but, she has fought Lyra, twice, lost. If they want to continue that feud, they can't have them be champions, number one. So I think that's one reason. That's another reason why they lose. And I think maybe you have Bailey go ahead and rather than a miscommunication, I think she turns on Lyra. Raquel and Liv get the W, and then that sets them up for at least one more match for that IC title, which really is good for nothing. Them putting it on Lyra, I gotta believe they have to look at that as being a massive mistake with her being the first champion. It makes no sense. You put it on a Bailey, that title at least means something.
It should have went to Roxanne.
Or Roxanne. Yeah, that's
in
not
my
bad.
opinion.
Yeah, that's not a bad. But somebody like Lyra doesn't. I know she comes out and she does her thing and this, and woo with the crowd, but I don't know. She doesn't seem to. I don't know. I don't really see her as that great of a wrestler, but we'll see. Yes, CEO. But again, I think, to me, you have this, but you don't have the Street Profits. You have this, but you don't have Chelsea Green.
You could drop that Rey Mysterio match and bring Chelsea in or the Street Profits in.
Obviously, this match is all about having Liv, probably, one of the best women wrestlers in WWE right now on the biggest event. I think that's why that is there.
Before you move on, do you think that we possibly see, I can't remember her name when she was in WWE, but Syra come back to WWE?
Paige?
Was that
Paige?
Yeah.
Paige could. I could see maybe a Paige coming in night one, something with the Charlotte and maybe with Charlotte, unless Paige would maybe bring somebody with her as a tag team. I think if she were to get involved here, she'd have to bring another woman with her, and I don't know who that would be. But if she were to show up, you could see her potentially getting involved. One of those surprise guest type things for for the other one, for the other belt. Fatal 4-way. I don't know. Big John, Fatal 4-way.
Penta.
That's it. Penta.
I say Penta or Dom wins this. I'm leaning toward Penta.
Yeah.
Breaker's been a great champ. and he's fought everybody. And I can see them when they shake up, moving him to SmackDown until it's time to move him to the main event. Him shaking up SmackDown, but I feel like somehow Finn and Dom get into it, which causes Penta to win, and then we see the breakup of the Judgment Day afterwards.
Yeah, John.
I have to go with your son. I'm going with Dom for some reason. I just feel that the way they've been pushing him, that he is gonna end up pinning Finn somehow. Penta and Braun are gonna go outside the ring, and then Dom's gonna get the win. As much as I don't like it, he does have enough heat on him where he's good with the crowd. I think he ends up taking it.
Yeah, Anthony.
I am totally with the CEO on this one as well. I could definitely see the push for Dom with him going over, definitely over Finn. I definitely don't think anyone will go over clean on Braun Breaker. It'll definitely, if he does lose it, it's going to be, something happening to where one of the other guys take a pinfall. But I definitely think it'll, break down in the end, and somehow Dirty Dom will come out with the win.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the beginning of the ending for the Judgment Day. I think it's one of those ones where it's the same type of thing. What I could see potentially happening in a way is, somebody does, I don't know, maybe Breaker hits the spear on Finn. He goes for the pin. Penta comes in, breaks it up. They go into, and they kind of move over. And Dirty Dom, comes from out of the ring, slithering underneath the bottom ropes, and gets a 1, 2, 3 pin on Finn Balor. And we see the beginning of the end of the Judgment Day.
I could also possibly see Finn turning back to face again.
Well, I think that might help him to go ahead and do that type of thing. I think that the time will be. I don't see them moving Breaker to SmackDown, because if there's going to be a title push, that means he has to go against let's say Cody retains along those lines. I could see him staying with Raw and moving somehow through and becoming one of Jay's opponents after Jay wins. So I can definitely see that.
Good possibility.
The women's triple threat. Anthony?
I think this is going to actually be a really good match. So the only logic I have behind this prediction is I think Io's going to win this one for the only reason Bianca and Rhea have both had decent runs within the past couple years. So that'd be the only reason I go with Io in this. To put her over two of literally the best women actively in wrestling today on the biggest stage. I think a triple threat's going to be a really good match. I think it could actually be one of the matches that steal the night.
Big John?
This match will steal the night. This will be match of the night. Bianca Belair stays undefeated. I think both.
Man, you just love her, so that's bias right there.
I know we all know I love me some EST, but I think you have a couple things in play, right? EO has always had both of their numbers in one-on-one. EO's had Belair's number. EO has Ripley's number. So somehow EO will still be the star of this match. I don't think she's going to be outshined by them, but Bianca still wins. And the reason being, now when you flip over to the Jade Naomi situation coming on, it makes it even more vital with a title in the picture.
Yeah, okay. John?
I kind of agree with Big John. If she wins, she has the title, and Jade. Because I don't see Rhea winning it. I mean, she's a great competitor, but no, Io is. I just think that they're going to give it to her and then have a setup with her and Jade somehow.
So I would hate for them to take the belt off of Io so quick, especially when she didn't win it at a PLE. She won it on a Monday Night Raw, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was I think either the Monday Night Raw right after Royal Rumble or the second one or so on and so. So I hope they do that with that Io. I think Bianca has to be. I mean, I think Rhea has to be part of the loss, definitely for sure. And I'm going to tell you, this is just my opinion. I think the whole mommy thing is starting to wear thin. I don't think it. I don't. I honestly, I think they're at a point where they've got as much juice out of that fruit as they can. Now, what can she turn into with her, what do you call that, goth type, look and everything? I don't know, but I think she needs a little something. I'm going to be honest, Bianca, great. I don't have that, but there is something about her that I'm just saying I've never really seen. I know the kid. I know, again, to me, she's another product of the crowd because I mean, yes, she does some jumping around and everything in the ring, but I don't really find her matches exciting or anything like that. So from that, so I mean, I don't know. I just, I don't know what I don't know what I see, from her and everything. The thing about there has to be, if the idea of what you guys say is that Bianca gets the title, which then gets us into something with Bianca and Jade, that means there has to be another twist to that whole thing that happened to Jade. That means Bianca somehow has to be involved with Naomi to push her, to do what she did. I don't know if it comes out that, Bianca was brainwashing Naomi or whatever it may be, but the only way that works is if there's something, something driving that what do you want to call it? I don't want to say hatred, but that dislike to want to go ahead and beat up each other. She would have to be involved in some way, shape, or form. So that's just what I think. But I would love to see Io win. I mean, and again, like I said, I would like to see Io win. Again, do something with mommy, and then figure out what they're doing, how they incorporate Bianca into that whole Naomi thing. That's just my opinion there.
I think Bianca's is primed for a heel turn, and I can't wait till she starts using that whip as a heel, that braid as a whip as a heel.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of more people are going to like her as a heel. I just think she's too white meat babyface for a lot of the fans. But her heel, that sass, I think people are going to enjoy it.
True, and that's why I think that if there's a heel turn and the idea is something to do with Jade, then she had to be involved in what happened to Jade and somehow. That they have to bring that to the forefront in some way, shape, or form. Then after we've gone through, and I think this is the leadoff match of night number 2. In my opinion, I mean, I would like to see this one. But I could see them doing the fatal 4-way. I think it's got to be one of those two as the night 1 match, and everything else, everything else fills in. And then we get to the big one, the undisputed WWE champion. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, John Cena, the heel turn, 20 something plus years in the making, finally does come about and everything. Anthony, what do you think?
So this is a tough one only for the fact I don't know how long John Cena is going to be around. You know what I mean? Just as far as like his Hollywood, schedule and stuff like that. I mean,
So just so you know, he not to cut you off, but just so you know, he has said that basically this is his last year.
like as far as like wrestling or as far as
Yes.
Hollywood?
No. That this is his last year for wrestling. That I forgot what I think I don't know what he said his last match is going to be.
December.
What?
Last calendar year, December is
Okay,
is it.
so sometime in December, 8 months from now, John Cena is going to have his final match. So we only have 8 months. Unfortunately, we only have potentially 8 months of heel Cena.
Gotcha. So the question soon becomes then, are they going to have a part-time champion or is he going to be full-time with them over this calendar year? But it's for me, it's still a tough one because I could totally see them going full bore with Cena, kind of like they've done with The Rock and with Brock Lesnar and those guys in the past. But again, if he's not going to be full bore and depending on his schedule, they could keep it on Cody. But just because of the magnitude of this heel turn, I'm picking Cena.
December's the last time. Okay. Not Big John. Other John.
I'm going Cena because they're WWE the way they are best for business is to give John Cena his 17th championship, and how long he holds it. I'm with Anthony on that. It's going to depend on his schedule. If he's going to be full time, I think they keep it on him longer. If not, I could see him losing it at SummerSlam. But I feel that sometime during the match, because The Rock's going to be there, Rock's going to get involved or try to. You're going to see Stone Cold come down because he's already said that he would back Cody up. And those two are going to get into it, fight back, go backstage to where it's just going to be John Cena and Cody one-on-one. And you're going to see John win it.
Big John?
My brain says John Cena. My heart says Cody.
What did your wallet say?
John Cena, because I'm buying my John Cena cards. I've been buying up John Cena cards, so yeah.
You could bind up all kinds of nice wrestling cards, man. I've been watching your Instagram, bro.
Yeah.
So here's my other thing. How do you guys feel as John being a heel? Is he playing a good part for it, or does it look like he's struggling with it? I feel
like
he's
him as a heel,
struggling a little
personally.
bit.
I think he's doing fine with it. He went in a way that I didn't think he was gonna go, so I'm liking it. But the visual of him winning and you not seeing a championship again for 3 months until the next big pay-per-view, which I think is when they go to Saudi Arabia. I don't like that them not having it defended, because then what happens on SmackDown without the championship? Who's fighting who? The only good thing about that, if he wins it, is that you get to take some number one contender matches and have a number one contender for him, instead of, I'm going to give Kevin Owens a shot, I'm going to give this person a shot. Now you have your main eventers on SmackDown fighting for the championship. Yeah, Mike, Backlash is the next PLE, but it's not the next big PLE.
Yeah, SummerSlam.
Well, the next big one is SummerSlam.
Isn't Saudi Arabia before that?
Yeah, but I don't think that. I think SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights this year.
Yeah,
in New Jersey.
again,
So that's really going to be the next big one.
well, I say Saudi Arabia is big because we know they pay for the matches and the people they want to see.
Right.
So that's why I say it's big because they're going, if they want Cena there, they're going to pay to get Cena there.
And here's my other thing: does Cody automatically invoke his rematch clause come the Monday night after, SmackDown after?
I don't know.
Does it matter but does it matter if he invokes it if Cena's not around? Now you have people saying, "Oh, title shots are rare with Cena not being around. Why are we automatically giving it to you?"
So, as far as his availability, when he went ahead and announced that 2025 was going to be his last year, he committed to 35 appearances for the year. So the thing about him turning heel wasn't I think people after that heel turn at Chamber, I think everybody expected the Doctor of Thugonomics to come back, and him not doing that was incredible because my time is now, your time is over to the fans. It kind of takes that song and it changes it around, finally the way it should be. How's he doing? I'm going to tell you right now, if they were to truly let him go the way he had let him go in the past against Roman Reigns or something like that, he will cook Cody on the mic. Cody is nothing for him. Cena will be able to do. He would cook him, like a bucket of friggin', bucket of chicken. He would go ahead. It'd be like a nice big ass barbecue, man. He would kill him. I think the way what
the only thing I'm happy with is the fact that Cody isn't crying anymore.
Yeah, it's not Cody's cryberries. I think what you're going to see happen is, I don't know if he's not going to retire as the champ, but he's not going to stay. He is not going to go out as a heel. It is not going to happen. So I think that means if you're looking at the calendar, Resident Evil, how you doing? If you're in my opinion, if you're looking at the calendar, with it being April, we have, in my opinion, 6 more months of heel Cena, 7 months maximum. Because I think you see some kind of turn back to a face at maybe Survivor Series or something like that, where maybe Cody goes away. If Cody loses, Cody disappears. And then Cody comes back and somehow joins up with The Rock, and when he agrees to be The Rock champion, and at Survivor Series, something happens with that switch. Cody then is your heel guy. Cena is your face guy. And that is how you and that is how you end there. So I definitely think John Cena is going to win. They're going to have the 17. How long is he going to hold it? I don't know. I agree. Mike said, think about it. Backlash is in St. Louis. Randy is from St. Louis. So that does go ahead, and bode well for the thing. To me, I don't know. We talked about Randy earlier, and the one thing that I, didn't say that I kind of forgot about is I don't know how much, with all the injuries he's had recently, I don't know how well he could do in a match. Like, one of the reasons I heard they put him with one of the reasons why I heard that when he was still out, they put him with Riddle was, if you watched their matches, Randy wasn't in the ring a lot. A lot of it was Riddle and stuff. So I don't know about that whole thing. I don't know how far he could go. Blairsville, Georgia. Marietta, Georgia here, Resident Evil.
To build on what you were saying there, Mike, I agree. He's not going to stay heel for, like you said, maybe 7 months. I can see him losing it if Randy does it. That would, because John's got it, but he's kind of like a Randy. Because of that kind of a match, I could see possibly and Randy winning it. And then sometime either in November or early December, maybe sooner than that, he's going to turn on The Rock, and then his final match is probably going to be versus The Rock, I bet. That's how you see how this playing out.
So Anthony, let me ask you a question, and and this is in all seriousness. You were a professional wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
As your career went on, and you started, dealing with the injuries and stuff like that. What was it like as trying to get back in the ring and do the things you were doing?
It was difficult. There's been several injuries over the course of my career. Like early on, you know what I mean? It was easier to get back in, but towards the end of my career, it was a lot harder. It got to the point where like I had to literally fight for every match, you know what I mean? As far as preparing and just making sure I was ready and making sure my body was like, up to where it needed to be. Sometimes it would even be resting most of the day up until that match, you know what I mean? Just to make sure that I had what it took to kind of physically get through it towards the end there. But what you guys were saying with Randy and Riddle is kind of spot on, because a lot of times when guys are injured, they will get into tag teams. So that way the other guy in the tag team can kind of carry most of the match, and then they can get in and not take many bumps. They can come in and kind of do some more offensive type moves to where they're not going to actually take any abuse to their body or aggravate the injury anymore.
Or they come in for their finisher, and then that's the end of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Just something quick.
Yep. A lot of times they'll be the hot tag guy. They'll come in towards the end, hit the big move, and the other guy takes the...
He is out of shape by any means. I mean, he still looks decent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not Chris Jericho yet.
Yeah.
But, guys should...
I don't know who Randy would team with, unless Riddle came back. I don't know if there's anybody on the roster that he teamed with.
No, I don't mean from that standpoint of him doing something like that. Like, I just don't know. I mean, I don't know how good of a match he and Cena at a Backlash could be.
Yeah.
From that standpoint. But I think from a WrestleMania, standpoint, I don't know. Does he show up at the end? Is that how he gets his appearance somehow with those within that match and everything? I don't know. I think, the Cena thing, we talk about the swerves and all this other kind of stuff with the WWE, and you think about, we think about, it makes sense. You have Cena turn heel, and he wins number 17. I mean, they find, did John finally come and say to them, hey, you know what? I want to get 17, because the rumors were that he always kind of pushed back and was like, no, I don't want 17. I don't want to go past, Flair, so has he had that change in his brain that, hey, I'm going to retire. You know what? Yeah, I do want it. And they're going to go ahead and they're going to reward him with it for his, illustrious career. But then again, then there's that big ass swerve part with, no, they don't do it. But then my thought is yes, that makes sense. Haha, screw him, don't do it. But then, okay, you just killed that whole freaking storyline. Like, if you don't have John Cena win, what do you do?
Yeah.
What's the goal forward?
Where does John Cena go forward with it? The only thing he could do there is if he lost and The Rock starts beating on him, he turns face again, but that'd be such a quick turn. Not saying that WWE wouldn't do it.
Right.
and then bring up the whole Rock and him have the segues of 30 to 40 matches a year or for the year or appearances, they could work it in that way. But that's the only thing I can see him doing with John.
Yeah, I like that's what it's kind of, again, to your point, you don't know WWE, but they kind of, it's one of those times when it is when the outcome is as obvious as it looked like it should be.
Right.
The obvious outcome is John Cena winning number 17. Everybody, a bunch of people being, pissed off, a bunch of people going ahead and being happy about it, right? But
sometimes they put themselves into a corner.
Right.
Yes. And if Cody loses, does he possibly go after Jay's belt? That's a run they can see it, but it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, from from what I had heard, there has been, there's always been talk about, Cody being a heel and Cody wanting to be a heel and stuff like that. Again, to me, it's like one of those things. Like, is now the right time? Is now the right time to push Cody as a heel in a long-term story? But the thing is even from that standpoint, you really got to be thinking even further down the road, unless the massive swerve happens in December and John Cena says, you know what? I'm not retiring. Screw all of yous.
Which wouldn't be a surprise either there, because it could
You know
happen.
what I'm saying? Because because that's like the next pieces of this. And you would think a guy like John Cena, for a final match, you would want it on the grandest stage at all. What PLE is in December?
I don't know. Well,
is there a PLE in December?
I think they have that New Year's
Yep.
Eve thing that they do. I don't know what other one they have.
Yeah.
Watch it'll end up being like one of the Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
things or something stupid like that. John Cena's last match.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
So I don't know. I'm looking
You could
forward
also-
to it.
If you were talking about Cody going heel, I think Randy is still considered fit. Start that up with him being part of Legacy, and they have a match. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I always wanted Edge to retire Cena.
Unfortunately, I don't see that happen. Possible.
Thanks, Resident
Or The
Evil.
Miz. It'd be fitting if The Miz was his last match.
Come on, you don't think R-Truth could do it?
Oh, so I was hoping that through this build-up that R-Truth came out in between him and Cody, trying to talk sense into Cena, and somehow R-Truth got a match on Raw with Cena somehow. Do that. I would have loved that. That's what I wanted, but it didn't happen.
That would have been pretty cool.
That would have been a pretty cool moment. He'd come out. It'd have been funny. Cena would have socked him. It could have been a moment.
I'd put nothing over WWE of Cena showing up at a SmackDown or something like that, and he wins and one of these SmackDowns and everything, while he's doing a promo or something, R-Truth music hits and he comes out, and he's like, I just had to come out and understand why my childhood hero went ahead and did what he had to do and stuff.
Yep.
They go and they do, that.
I
So,
can see
I don't
that.
know.
Here's the other question. I know it's not a Royal Rumble. How many old timers do we see pop their heads in and out? I mean, you're going to see the Boston at some point. But Ric Flair's mentioned he wants to be there. And a few others. So it should be interesting to see. I mean, they're not going to do anything, obviously, but
Rick was mentioning being there because he wanted to beat up John Cena for John Cena winning number 17.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, overall, I don't, to me, there hasn't been enough of a buildup to figure out who might be there. So I'm not sure. I mean, it's not like a Royal Rumble where you can throw in some of those guys that way.
Right.
So I'm not 100%, I'm not 100% sure. I mean,
I really most of them would be there because of the Hall of Fame, but how do you guys feel about those people going in? That's another one real quick before we get off here. The ones that were nominated or going to be inducted, besides for Triple H, which I can kind of see him getting by himself, but at the same time, really,
That was pretty good though, right? Triple H.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with anybody in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, it's all well deserved. I mean, there's always guys that you feel like probably should have made it, or girls you feel like probably should have made it. But I'm reasonably happy with the selections. I mean, Triple H, like he was always like one of my favorites too. So like I'm happy to see him make it.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot even behind the scenes for them. Since he's not been an active wrestler anymore. So I feel like it's deserved.
I was really surprised that they haven't put The Rock in yet because
I'm shocked by that too.
Because you still have Ray's still wrestling and he was a Hall of Famer, so it's like they should put him in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know where Mike went. Mike said, "We're talking about Hall of Fame. I'm out of here."
Maybe his computer died. Oh, there he is.
Welcome back, sir.
Stupid hotel crap.
So we all agree we're okay with the Hall of Fame people, but the one we're missing.
I mean, the natural disasters, I guess I kind of sort of get, from that standpoint. I mean, like to me, I mean, look, I don't really care that much about that type of stuff and everything. I just hope as we go forward, some of these guys that that if they're thinking about them going in the Hall of Fame, let's get them in while they're still here, so they could actually be a part of it. From that standpoint, let's not wait on some of these guys, especially some of the older guys. Whoever that might be. Again, I don't know of an older guy that is, still around, with us and stuff like that from that standpoint, but if you take someone, who's not in the Hall of Fame, but, they're up in there in age, if the idea is that you're thinking about putting them in, get them in while their families can still, enjoy it and stuff. But when I was looking at the Hall of Fame stuff, do you know that Tugboat, which was Typhoon, he is actually Cody Rhodes' uncle. He's Dusty Rhodes' brother-in-law.
Oh, wow.
Know that? No.
Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't know that either. I was like, holy crap. But like I said, that's my only thing with the Hall of Fame type thing. If you're gonna put him in. I don't. I don't know if I'm a fan of the Hall of Fame moments type thing.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask because
the Shock Master. That's right. He was also the Shock Master.
That was awesome when he Kool-Aid Man through the wall.
Yeah, I don't. I agree with that either.
Because now you're talking, and then if you're looking at moments, I think this was the first moment, right?
Yeah.
How in the hell is it not Hogan beating Andre the Giant? Like, how could you call that like one of the websites did their like top 10 matches, and their number one match was from WrestleMania 3. It was Hogan and Andre, and people are going, what, people in the comments are like, what the hell are you talking about? That match sucked and everything. And it's like, it was more than the match. It was the moment. It was iconic. Yeah. It was that whole thing. That's what made it what it was. So how is that not the number? If you're going to put a moment in, in a Wrestlemania moment, how is that not the first one that ever goes in?
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know,
Not just crediting Stone Cold's match there, but
no,
Andre was a lot. That one was just so iconic. That's what it's on every one of the previews of the shows when they're doing their little pictures. You see Hogan. It's like
you see Hogan slamming Andre.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of it. So I don't know. I think, I tell you, I mean, like I'm looking forward to it. Like I've always said, at all the PLEs, I invite a whole bunch of people over. We go ahead and we watch Anthony. Actually, I think you came over we had that one time. What was it? Royal Rumble and everything.
Yep, that was awesome.
And I actually do a contest. So I have a contest of everybody, and pick a winner, and I have a prize that I give out for the person who has the most correct guesses. I told Mike already I'm adding a twist this year. I was going through my wrestling cards, and what I'm going to do is for that match, so like for Drew and Damian, I'm going to pick out, like 2 cards of each guy, and whoever picks it right, I'm going to put their name on the wheel, spin the wheel, and the winner can go ahead and get those 2 cards also as part of, the overall prize and everything. Nice. We do a big deal. We do food. We do the whole thing. I've had it, I've gone, gotten pizza. I got the big sandwiches from Costco or BJ's and everything.
You're making me hungry right now, man.
What?
You're making me hungry right now just thinking of it.
You can just say that I'm there in spirit. I'm going undefeated, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
What do we think about the WrestleMania patches and the debut patches that were announced?
I think that's cool. Like I mean, if Topps is going to be doing it, why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Like it only makes sense. It's another way to monetize things and to actually make value in the hobby.
Right. And the thing, I don't mind them doing it, but what are the boxes going to cost us?
Oh, yeah.
$400 or $500
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
They're
not going to be cheap.
Did you guys see the Cactus Jack on WWE cards coming out as well?
No.
Yeah, Travis Scott got a box coming out for WWE. Then they announced the I think was it Dynasty cards coming out, Topps Dynasty. WWE cards, those look amazing.
Nice.
Let me see. So
I'll just look for singles.
I mean, I'm gonna get into some breaks. I'm not gonna lie. I know I'm gonna get into some breaks.
You just looking for the John Cena card. That's all you're looking for.
No, I'm looking for the Montez Forrest cards.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I'll buy the Cena's and everything else single. I break my faves and I just buy singles and everything else. Try to bring look.
That makes sense and everything. I don't know. It's a great, hey, if worst case scenario, at least get to see some cool cards on your computer screen, and stuff like that. And maybe if you go to a show, you might see them. It's one of those things where, again, you'd love to go ahead and get a box, but to John's point, depending on what you want, what your expectation is, if it's to let me go ahead and, try and make some money by buying these, what? It's probably 1 out of 50 boxes is going to make your money back.
Yeah. Now, they're going to do the debut patches looking the same as the MLB, or is something different? I haven't seen any of them yet, so I don't know.
Oh, it's Topps Universe cards is what they call.
Okay, I'll have to look them up.
But they have the little. It'll be the same type of thing. It'll be like debut. It'll be like Raw debut. I think they're doing it for Raw and SmackDown too, aren't they?
Yep, Raw and SmackDown debut.
Yeah, so it'll say Raw debut, SmackDown debut, WrestleMania debut. I mean, it'll be, one of those crazy ass things, where it'll just keep, going and going and going, and you'll try and, get as much, try and find as much as you can and everything. And again, at the end of the day, you can only hope that they are, somewhat whatever reasonably priced is nowadays.
Yeah.
But
Let's see.
So, hey, before we wrap up, any last comments? Any last comments? Anybody kick it off?
Just besides, I'm going undefeated.
I just hope everybody enjoys WrestleMania.
Yeah. Even though I feel it's going to be mediocre, but there'll be a couple matches that'll be worth watching.
Yeah, for me, I think it's going to be very interesting because I'm not saying that I think I'm pretty close. I think it's pretty close in saying that this really is the first Mania that is truly just 100% Triple H. Because I think even if you look at last year, there were still some storylines, that Vince was involved with, that Vince helped start.
Right.
But I think, with him being out, I think this is Triple H's first one. I hope he learns from it because, like I was saying, to me, you got 13 matches, and I hate to say it, but there's 6 of them that probably in reality aren't WrestleMania worthy. I'm not saying they're not PLE worthy, but not when this is your Super Bowl. This is your Daytona 500, your World Series, your Stanley Cup, your NBA Finals, your Kentucky Derby. When this is that event in your industry, I think the card should be better.
If you're going to do 2 nights, maybe 5 matches tops on each night.
Yeah. Anthony, your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, it was me all along, Austin. I've been waiting 2 hours for that, man. No, I mean,
I did it for The Rock.
WrestleMania. This has been a great tradition that you've started, Michael. Appreciate you incorporating all of us into it.
Yeah.
You
As
should
always,
do it for all the PLEs.
we want to do SummerSlam?
Why not?
Whatever, man. I'm down to do this anytime with you boys. You just let me know.
That's a nice
Oh,
pack.
wow.
So that's the Topps Universe cards. WWE.
That's what's up.
Can you zoom in a little on your screen, John?
Yeah.
Just to make it a little bit bigger on the screen?
Yeah, they are definitely between $500 and $700 a box, I'm sure. Probably 8 cards. That's all you're going to get.
Click on that little mic. Oh, yeah, there we go. Over there. A little bit down. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a mouse. It's a little round thing that kind of has buttons on it and a wheel. Well, not that much. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
see, it might have some surface
I love the
issues, but it looks good.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
probably on there WrestleMania 41.
But I was going to say it's amazing that it's already signed WrestleMania 41.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have a belt. Oh, no, she does have the belt on her. Interesting.
I wonder if that's match worn at WrestleMania 41, being that it's already been signed to WrestleMania 41 and put together.
Yeah.
She wore it in Vegas, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think
That's
they've even
pretty-
sold this WrestleMania out yet either.
No, they're at 40,000.
Something tells me they're not going to sell out.
A chat group that I'm in on X with a bunch of wrestling fans. One of the guys actually lives in Vegas, and his company, he does lighting in Vegas, and his company was working on the lighting for WrestleMania and stuff.
Nice.
And he said when you looked at the prices like last week compared to this week, there's been a significant drop. A significant drop in prices.
I think when we were looking last week, I think it was like 15 grand for 3 rows back.
Yeah. 15 grand a ticket. I mean,
If
15
I'm-
grand a seat.
If I'm paying that, I better get backstage access to every wrestler that's there.
Yes.
and autographs.
What do you think that would actually cost? Like, what do you think like WWE would want to check for to have that experience?
You're probably looking at probably 6 figures.
Yeah, it's definitely starting with 100. But you know, we're gonna see Smiley right there, dead center,
Mm-hmm.
lime green shirt with his smiley friggin' face on it. I mean, I could not, man. That's a guy I could not imagine going. I mean, that must be incredible being there.
I don't think he's an employee somehow.
It's got to be. He's a mark. He's got to be somebody who had, you know, yeah. I don't care who the hell you are. You know somebody to get that
They
damn.
use him to focus the cameras because of the green shirt. It's like, all right, let's use him. We'll pay you to be in every one of them. You'll sit right here.
Yeah, but yeah. Hey, man. You know, and again, don't forget. You know, if you're not doing anything Saturday at 1:00 for those people watching, don't forget on Peacock, you can go ahead and catch Stand and Deliver NXT.
I'm gonna be at work watching everything. I don't know how
You're
much work I'm gonna get done.
You're working Saturday night.
Yep, I don't know how much work I'm gonna get done at work, but I'm gonna be watching everything.
I'll watch it
Yeah.
Saturday at 4:00. I'll see if they throw any matches in during that, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But hey, man, thanks, and we definitely going to do this again. I'll continue to put everything together. I have no problem. You guys want to come up? You know, I mean, you know, we love talking about this stuff. So we can definitely go ahead and you know, do this.
You gotta do SummerSlam, Crown Jewel. You gotta do them all.
Okay.
Thanks again, Mike. It's always a pleasure being on, man.
You're welcome, man. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for everybody who tuned in. Much appreciated. Enjoy WrestleMania. Have a great weekend. Dom, Mike, Mantis, Lock-In, everybody who was here. Thanks a lot. Appreciate each and every one of you guys and girls.
Take it easy.